Alright, E-Man here. Today we're going to do a tutorial for Rimworld. It's going to be a gun tutorial. We're going to do it from scratch, except for 3 files that I've already prepared. I've got a E-gun PNG, just a skin for the gun that we're going to use. Preview PNG, which is the mod menu image. And the about XML. I'll leave this up for a moment so you can copy it. There's not really much to it. First thing we're going to do is make our mod folder. Right click, new, folder. In my case, I'm going to call it egun. It can be called whatever you want. Now we're going to open up that mod file. Inside here, we're going to create 3 new folders. About, defs, and textures. Now we're going to take the preview PNG and the about XML. We're going to put those in the about folder. We can go and close that for now. We're going to go to our mods folder. I'm assuming you know where that is by now. We're going to drop the egun folder into the mods folder. From here we're going to open core. Inside of core, we're going to open up defs. We're going to scroll down until we find thing defs misc. Somewhere, here it is. Go into weapons, and here's all the weapons for the game right here. What we're looking for today is the auto pistol, so we're going to go to range industrial. We're going to scroll on down until we find it, which is right here, second entry. For weapons, the thing def is all of this right here, and then the one below it is the bullet. We're going to go ahead and take all of this from the first thing def all the way to the second one from the bullet. I'm going to copy that, file new, Control V for paste, go to language, open up XML, go back here, steal the header and the defs like usual. Go at the bottom, make closing defs tag. I like a space there. We're going to copy the bullet, Control X to cut, Control V to paste. Now I have the bullet up here, and the gun down here. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the bullet. This right now says bullet auto pistol. We're going to make that say bullet e-gun. It's worth noting that standard convention is that bullet goes first, then the gun. This is the in-game label as opposed to the def name. The def name you're not going to see in the game, it's just how the game identifies the object. The label is what you'll actually see in the game. So we're going to go ahead and change this to e-gun bullet. And note we're matching the capitalization in all of these to match the defaults. It's very important to do these things. The texture path, we're not going to change. We're going to use the default bullet graphic because they go so fast you don't really see them anyway. Feel free to change this if you want. This is exactly where it goes. Graphic single is fine. Now in the projectile data, fly overhead false and damage def, you don't really need to mess with these things. Fly overhead's more for mortars, things like that. And damage def is always going to be a bullet as far as I know, unless it's going to be like a melee object or something. Damage amount base is of course what you want to modify if you want to make it higher or lower damage. We're going to go ahead and make it just extremely high. And the speed is roughly how fast the bullet moves. There's other variables included, so a really low speed won't do a lot. We're going to go ahead and do, say, 50. Let's do 100 again. 100 everything. So there we've created a whole new bullet. The game will register that just as it is. We're going to go down here to the gun auto pistol. We're going to change auto pistol to e-gun, matching the capitals, of course. Again, it's worth noting that the convention is to have gun before the gun name, just so it's easy to organize. The label is what we'll see in the game. We're going to go ahead and just change this to e-gun, all lowercase, to match the convention. Description is, of course, a description you'll see in the game. We'll go ahead and modify this. The texture path we will be changing, but we're not going to do it right at this moment. We'll just leave it as it is. Graphic class, graphic single is fine. I don't think any weapons use anything besides graphic single. I could be wrong about that. And the sound interact, we're not going to be changing that either. Research requirements, blowback operation. These are just the requirements for research that you have to have before you make it. These are obviously just the research you have to have done before you can create these items. You can add as many or as few as you want. Skill requirement, also self-explanatory. The person making this object has to have a crafting skill of 4 to be able to craft it. Weapon tags, as far as I know, are more for the AI than anything, but go ahead and make sure you keep it accurate. I'll go ahead and put a list of the different weapon tags that I know about on the screen. There might be more that I don't know about, but you want to have sniper rifles as sniper rifles or pistols as pistols so the AI knows what to use weapons as. Here in stat bases, we have work to make, which is obviously how long it's going to take to make the weapon at the crafting station. Here in math is how much it weighs. So accuracy, touch, short, medium, and long are somewhat self-explanatory. Accuracy, touch is the two are literally touching each other. Short is short range, medium is medium range, and long is long range. These are percent values. So at touching distance, this weapon has an 80% chance of hitting. It'd be 80%, 70%, 40%, and then making a 1 would be 100%. So for our modded weapon, we'll go ahead and make it to where you have a guaranteed chance of hitting if you have a high enough shooting skill, which also determines weapon accuracy. At short range, you have a 90% chance. Medium range, you have an 80% chance. Long range, you have a 70% chance. These are very unrealistic for a pistol. Generally, you'd want to have it be a short to medium range weapon, but since it's a mod and we're just goofing around, who cares? Range weapon cooldown is obviously how long the weapon cools down for. Cost list is where you list the resources and the amount of resources you want to have to craft an item. In this case, it will take 30 steel and 3 components to create this object. You could easily add plasteel to this or anything else you wanted to. We're going to go ahead and just make this is 60 just so it's changed. I'll make it 10 components. Now here in this section, you don't want to change these two things. Pretty much all the guns are going to do these things. Here is where you set the bullet the gun uses though. We're going to change this to bullet E-gun, which we made previously. You're going to make sure you reference the def title, not the label. Warm-up time, how long it takes to start shooting, we'll make 0.1, so it takes less time to start shooting. We'll make the range insane at 100.9. We're not going to change the soundcast or the soundcast trail, but if you do want to change these, what these are, is this is the initial sound the gun makes, and this is the sound after it fires that it makes. So this would be the bang, and this would be like the bullet flying through the air, for example. Muzzle flash scale is how bright the flash is. We can go ahead and make that be 20. I don't know how high it really goes. Here in tools, it's a little bit more advanced. You probably won't need to change these if you're copying guns, because I'm assuming you're going to copy a rifle for a rifle, copy a pistol for a pistol, etc. But what these are, each of these list objects has a label, which is the part of the gun, in the case the grip, and the capacity of damage it can do. So blunt damage in this case. If you hit somebody with the grip, it'll do blunt damage for a power of 9, with a cooldown time of 2. So that's what these mean. Here, if you hit somebody with a barrel, it does blunt or poke damage, or maybe both. I'm not sure how that works, for a power of 9, with a cooldown time of 2. So what we'll do now is we'll go into our text path right here, of the actual gun. Remember, we're not going to change the bullet texture path, we're going to change the gun texture path. All we're going to change is we're going to go over here with his auto pistol, and we're going to put the name of our texture. So in this case, it's E-gun PNG. You don't need the PNG part, so we're just going to put E-gun. Now where we're going to put this depends on this directory. So all we're going to do is recreate this directory in our mod folder. So we'll set this to the side. We're going to go to our mod, which is here, the mods folder, E-gun. So this things starts right in the textures directory. So what you're going to do is do things right here. Inside of things, you want to have item. Instead of item, you want to have equipment. Make sure you spell these things right and get the capitalization correct. Instead of equipment, you want to have weapon range. This is where we're going to put the E-gun file. Alright, we'll do one quick scan through, make sure everything looks right. So after a quick look through, it looks like everything's going to work. So we're going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to be sure to save it in the same kind of directory that we took it from. So if you remember, we took this from the core folder. We're going to go back to there, and we were in defs, thing defs misc, and weapons. This is the directory we need to recreate in our mods folder. So what we can do is set this to the side, so we have this as a reference, and we can open our mods folder again. We go into E-gun, We go into defs and we start recreating this folder structure from here. So we're going to do thing defs misc. Make sure you get the capitalization correct because they do have a second capital in the thing defs. Inside of here, we're going to do weapons. And this is where our thing def is going to go. So we're going to go ahead and go into our Notepad++. We're going to go File, Save As. Define the directory. egun, defs, thing defs misc, weapon. And we're going to call this egun. So there it is. I'm going to go ahead and start the game and see if everything worked. Alright, here I am in the mod menu. You see my folder showing up. It doesn't seem to be throwing any errors quite yet. We're going to go ahead and enable that. We're going to go ahead and close it. It'll restart the game. That's normal. So at this point, I haven't gotten any errors. If you did get errors, you should go back to your code and verify that everything's typed in correctly. It's the best I can suggest. We're going to start a game real quick. Alright, here we are in game. I've got it paused. I'm going to go ahead and go to the debug actions menu. Go to the search bar, do spawn. We're going to spawn a weapon. Do a quick search for egun. Here it goes, gun egun. As you can see, it matches the convention of the rest of the guns nicely. We're going to spawn a few of these laying around. Looks like our texture came out correctly. I'm going to go ahead and unpause the game, forcing you guys to equip them. Alright, let's see what they do. As you can see, our power score is super high. Accuracy is super high as well. I'm guessing these guys don't have terrible shooting skills. As you can see, this guy has a terrible shooting skill, and if we use him, his accuracy will not be high like the rest will be. So even though we set the accuracy really high, he still can't hit the target because he has a very terrible shooting skill. So keep that in mind when you're making weapons. And that seems like a successful first test. Let's go ahead and modify the gun yet further. So here I am in the mods folder again. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our pistol fully automatic. So we're going to go into the core mod, we're going to go into defs, go back into thing defs misc, and find weapons again. We're going to go into industrial. Most of these should have automatic weapon, but I know there's one in here. So you're going to scroll down until you find gun machine pistol. We're going to scroll down until we get to its verbs. If you look through here, you're going to find one that says burst shot count. You want that one. You want ticks between burst shots. These are the two that will define how a gun's fully automatic or burst fire or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. We're going to go to our folder. We're going to put that in our verbs. I'll make the burst shot count be 20. Ticks between bursts, we'll make 5. Alright, we're going to give it a save with Control S. We're going to load the game and see how that works. Alright, here we are in game again. I spawned some new guns. Let's go ahead and see how they act. So as you see, our guns are now fully automatic and they're extremely powerful. They pretty much kill instantaneously. Now let's go ahead and modify that yet further. So here we are in the mods folder again. We're going to go ahead and go back to the thing defs misc weapons. We're going to scroll down until we find an incendiary weapon. This guy right here. Now how these work is by modifying the bullet, not the gun. Once you find an incendiary weapon, you want to find the bullet for it, because this is how these work. And you're going to go down to the projectile section and find these values right here. You got damage def flame, explosion radius of 1, pre-explosion spawn thing is filth fuel, pre-explosion spawn chance 0.6. So what these mean is this object is going to do fire damage when it hits people. It's going to do an explosion radius of 1.1, which I'm not sure how many units that is. The pre-explosion spawn thing, that'll just spawn a thing right before it explodes. In this case, it's going to be flammable puddles. The The chance of those spawning is 60%. So for every tile the explosion covers, it's going to have a 60% chance to spawn a flammable puddle right there. You set this to true for the AI, so they know there's a fire weapon. What we're going to do is go ahead and take these. Go back to our folder. We're going to put those where we found them, which is in projectile. So for us, that's up here. Projectile. We're going to put it under the speed. We don't really need this, it's more advanced, don't worry about that. We're going to go ahead and modify it since we're modding like crazy. We're going to make explosion radius 5.1. Filled fuel is fine, and we're going to do a 80% chance. We're not going to modify the rest, just to keep it a fully automatic incendiary firing weapon. So we're going to go ahead and save this and start the game. Whoops, as you can see I made an error. It's somewhat self-explanatory what it is. If you look right here, I have damage def in there twice, and it doesn't want that. That should be pretty easy to fix. Let's go ahead and exit the game and fix that. So here we are, back in our eGun XML. I found the problem already. We've got damage def right here twice. It does not like that. I was not aware of this problem, but it's pretty easy to fix. Let's go ahead and erase one of them. And that should solve our problem. Let's go ahead and start the game. Alright, here we are back in the game. No errors this time. We're going to start a new game. So here we are back in the game. Let's see how the gun works. Well, that didn't seem to do very much, did it? So as you can see, we have a gun that lights things on fire when it shoots them, but it doesn't seem to be creating puddles for some reason. I'm actually not sure why. I can see if I can figure out why. I may not be able to. So I'm back here at the Core Mods original range industrial weapons, and it looks like I might have found the problem here. We have thing class projectile explosives, which is not in our current one. So we're gonna go ahead and copy that. We're gonna put it in the same place right above projectile. And I suspect that's gonna solve our problem. Another small error, we didn't have a force miss tag in there. We'll go ahead and add that real quick. So here we are in the range industrial XML. I found force miss radius under the gun incendiary launcher in the list section of verbs. So we're going to go ahead and copy that. We're going to go to our gun, list section of verbs, right here. We're going to add force miss radius in here. See what happens. Alright, here we are back in the game. No errors this time. We are going to go ahead and equip these guns. See how they work. There we go. That's the effect we're looking for. Let's do one more, it's so fun. Now this here is a hunting weapon. Alright, as you can see, there's how that works. Alright, here we are back at the desktop. Now I'm going to leave all those errors in the video, just so you can see how easy it is to troubleshoot these problems. I feel like that was an important lesson people could see. That or I'm lazy, one of the two. We'll go ahead and end the tutorial here. I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick just a few things I found in other files. As I showed you, here's how you make guns automatic and burst fire. Here's the explosive projectiles, but don't forget to do the thing we just learned, which is you have to have force miss in the verb section of that weapon. Here's how they set up shotguns. That is bullets, by the way. Here's different examples of crafting requirements for the cost list. Here's where you create the object itself, either the crafting spot or the fabrication station. Fabrication bench, I guess. Really quick aside note. Here's why you didn't see the table requirements in the default code that we edited, is because it's already in the parent for that weapon. The parent for that weapon was base makeable guns. Well, it's a chain of parents really, but we're going to go with that. Inside here is where it determines where the weapon's going to be made. That's why you didn't see it in the code before, is because it's in the parent files. If you want to take a look at the parent files for yourself, they are in base weapons XML, which is in the same place as the range industrial. And taking a look in here, it'll show you all the different bases for the weapons. And it's a chain of parents. It's a little bit complicated if you don't know coding, but it's not too hard to understand if you think about it. It starts off with this is the base for all the weapons. So all the weapons have these traits. Then the gun uses that parent as a base weapon. So the gun has all those traits and these traits that it adds, and any that it override the previous traits. And then makeable guns use that as a parent. So it has a chain of parents. So if you're ever trying to figure out why a thing has a property, always check the parents. Side note over. Here are some of the weapon tags I found. Just going through the different files. There could be more of them, I'm not sure. Another thing I found was market value. Just determines the value that it sells for, but take note that that's determined by a lot of other factors, so it won't be a set value. And here's a couple of the tech levels. And all of these things I found in different weapons files, which are all in this folder. So anything you want to do, you should be able to recreate very easily by following the same exact process, but if you want a machine gun, grab a machine gun instead. If you want an incendiary launcher, grab one of those instead. It's a very simple process. I hope that wasn't too long, and I hope you learned something.